At 3:12 a.m., my ring floodlights snapped on, flooding the cul-de-sac in white light. What I saw looked less like a neighborhood and more like a World War I reenactment run by a PTA committee. 5 HOA board members in reflective vests were while an overcaffeinated landscaper revved up a rented mini-excavator and began carving what could only be described as a moat around my lawn. Dirt flew in geysers. Orange flags flapped in the night breeze. One man poked the ground with a pair of salad tongs, like he was probing for landmines. When the excavator lurched too close to my prized dahlia shrub, I finally stepped outside with my coffee mug. "If you're going to besiege me," I said, "at least bring croissants." "T'es Someone fell into the trench. My hidden cameras caught every second in high definition. My name is Grant Ellison. I moved to Wildest for two simple things: quiet mornings and a garage, big enough for a woodworking bench. I keep to myself. I wave. I stack my bins with Tetris precision. But then there's Beverly Crane, HOA president, a woman who treats the CC&Rs like the Dead Sea Scrolls. Beverly believes uniformity equals morality, and that my black mailbox, instead of the approved shade of charcoal, heralds societal collapse. Her disciples include Run with the Clipboard, Tabitha the Gossip, and Pita Humanvest. Our subdivision slogan is "Where community grows." At the annual meeting, Beverly pronounced it like a curse. Her campaign against me started small. Notes, not Suero nato 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 nato. Ka natonas nato. Slid under my doormat, typed in Comic Sans, like fortune cookies that hate you. Your curtains display a non-neutral hue. Topajacent. Remedy by Friday. Your lawn displays rogue clover. Remove or face consequences. Your bird feeder attracts non-compliant species. Blue jays. Then came surveillance. Beverly took suspicious figure-8 walks around my property, peering over the fence like a submarine periscope. I caught Tabitha snapping photos of my tomatoes because vegetable patches, according to Beverly, were agricultural zoning violations. Twice, I found a measuring tape stretched across my porch because apparently my welcome mat exceeded the depth allowance. When I politely asked which rule band tomatoes, Beverly looked me in the eye and said without irony, "Tomatoes are gateway plants. They lead to unsanctioned pergolas." Soon after, I got a compliance inspection notice with a bolded line: "Failure to grant yard access implies guilt. So, trespassing primera. Ask it." "We're inspecting," Beverly replied, barging past me with the authority of someone holding a warrant from the Ministry of Mulch. These inspections became productions. Beverly would arrive flanked by her entourage, each with a specialty. Ron measured grass blade height with a ruler, citing anything taller than 3 inches. Tabitha photographed my garbage cans from 17 different angles. Pete tested my doorbell with a decibel meter, claiming it violated community comfort standards. Once, Beverly glimpsed my garage workshop and gasped like she'd uncovered a meth lab. "Power tools are industrial equipment," she declared. "This is a residential zone." When I explained it was just a woodworking hobby, shot bike hobbies are gateway activities to home businesses, the absurdity escalated. After discovering my solar pathway lights, Beverly called an emergency board meeting 7 p.m. On a Tuesday, she presented a 40-slide PowerPoint titled Unauthorized Photon Emissions. a community crisis. At one point, she actually used the phrase, light pollution terrorism, while pointing at a photo of my 12-inch garden light. The meeting lasted 3 hours. Beverly proposed a neighborhood blackout policy requiring board approval for all exterior lighting and Christmas decorations because, she argued, they disrupted architectural harmony but nothing compared to trench night. Beverly convinced the bord de my city-permitted French drain was diverting community spirit. Here, solution, dig a safety channel around my property to force an emergency drainage review. So, at 3 in the morning, they rented an excavator under the HOA's landscaping budget, threw on safety vests, and launched a siege. In Tercel, they clipped my fiber line, nicked the sprinkler main, and this part still kills me scraped. A utility marker that literally said, "Do not excavate." The operator, Tabitha's cousin, muttered, "It's probably fine." Which, as history shows, are the last words before sirens. The trench grew deeper, 4 feet down, wrapping my house like some medieval siege tactic designed by people who learned history from chain restaurants. Beverly barked orders through a megaphone she'd apparently brought just for the occasion. Deeper on the west side. We need maximum psychological impact. Run paste with a tape measure. Logging depths. In a notebook labeled Operation Property Line Defense. Pete fired up a generator to power work lights that made the cul-de-sac glow like a crime scene. I didn't call the cops right away. First, I made more coffee and checked out all 4 cameras, 2 in the eaves, 1 in the birdhouse, 1 hidden in a fake Rockware recording. Then I made 3 calls. City code enforcement, the utility company's emergency line, and my logeur, who answered at 3:30 a.m. with a weary sigh and said, "Let me guess. Beverly? Manuel." My cameras captured Beverly in full glory directing the chaos like a general on the wildest. At least the footage was glorious. At one point, Beverly actually unfurled a laminated map of my property complete with red-circled containment zones and blue arrows labeled pressure points. When the utility truck pulled up, hazard lights blinking, a weary technician climbed out with the look of a man who'd seen too much. Beverly raised her megaphone and announced, "We are the authority here." Spoiler, she was not. By sunrise, my cul-de-sac had an audience, 2 police officers, a city inspector, and a utility supervisor in a hard hat radiating. This is above my pay-grade energy. I queued up my footage on a tablet. Beverly ordering, "Make it deeper. He'll cave if he can't get his car out." The excavator bucket gnawing at the "do not excavate" marker like a curious raccoon. The inspector didn't even last through Act 2. "Who authorized this?" he demanded. Beverly proudly lifted her clipboard as if it granted diplomatic immunity. "The HOA." The utility supervisor shot back, "Ma'am, if your HOA votes to move a gas main, do you think the main respects democracy?" The officers started sorting Beverly's actions into neat columns. Things you can do versus crimes. Trespass. Vandalism. Damage to utilities. City ordinance violation for unpermitted excavation at night. Oh, and blocking my driveway with a dirt berm. Officially recorded as a trench-based impediment. That phrase alone was worth the sleepless night. That evening, the emergency HOA meeting played out like a reality show reunion. I projected the footage onto the clubhouse screen. At 10 seconds, Beverly screaming, "Fortify the north perimeter." Snorts of laughter. At 30 seconds, Ron tumbling into the trench. Loud laughter. At 40 seconds, Beverly dismissing the "do not excavate" marker. Dead silence. 10 My lower, who attends HOA meetings for sport, distributed copies of the letter Beverly had forged in my name. It was dripping with fake politeness and ended with a scanned signature that was actually my grocery list. Milk, screws, tortillas. Beverly muttered, "It was a misunderstanding." My lawyer replied, calm as ever, "It was a felony." The room erupted. Years of pent-up grievances poured out. One neighbor revealed Beverly fined him $800 for shutters painted desert sand instead of Sahara whisper. A woman recalled Beverly measuring her garden gnome and declaring it 3/4 of an inch too tall. Another couple said Beverly photographed their daughter's birthday party and reported it as an unauthorized gathering exceeding permitted decibel levels. The city dropped the hammer. $25,000 for unpermitted excavation, $15,000 for nighttime construction, $10,000 for damaging public utilities. The utility company added their own bill, $38,000, plus overtime for the 3 a.m. Emergency call. Insurance hiked the HOA premium fivefold and added an exclusion for future excavation-related activities. Board members abandoned ship with Titanic speed. Ron slid his clipboard across the table, announcing he was retiring from volunteer authoritarianism. Tabitha quietly deleted her surveillance folder while everyone watched. Pete removed his reflective vest, folded it neatly, and walked out without a word. For the encore, I filed a civil suit. In court, the video of Beverly sneering, "He'll cave if he can't get his car out," played softly while the judge read the state trespass statute. Verdict: damages, attorney fees, and a stern recommendation that Beverly find a hobby not involving backhoes. Wildest is different now. The trench is filled, the fiber line repaired, and my alias shrubs thriving like nothing ever happened except, of course, the memory of a small neighborhood war. The bylaws were rewritten by an actual attorney. The new board replaced the slogan with something honest. Wildest, please don't dig moats. As for Beverly, punishment landed with bureaucratic precision. Banned from HOA office for 10 years. Personally fined for the forged letter. Ordered to complete 40 hours of community service filling you guessed. It illegal trenches. Required to attend an 8-hour course titled Property Rights and Permit Basics. Reportedly opening with a photo of my black mailbox. When the judge announced her personal fines, $32,000 plus my legal fees, Beverly went through every shade of pale known to dermatology. She clutched her clipboard, whispering about appealing to a higher HOA authority. One small problem: no such authority exists.